Tonight, let your thoughts grow quiet. Let the noise of the day drift farther away, as though it were being carried downstream on dark water beneath an old stone bridge. You do not need to hurry anywhere now. You do not need to solve anything. You do not need to hold on tightly to any thought. Instead, let yourself travel gently backward, far beyond your own time, far beyond the cities and roads you know, to an older world of lamps and courtyards, fountains and footsteps, bread ovens warming before dawn, and the murmur of a waking city beneath a pale Italian sky. Tonight, we wander slowly into ancient Rome. Not into the Rome of battlefields and speeches, not the Rome of emperors carved in marble, not the Rome of great events recorded in heavy books, but into the Rome of ordinary life, the Rome of bakers and teachers, the Rome of laundresses and scribes, the Rome of children rubbing sleep from their eyes, the Rome of market stalls, sandals on stone, and neighbors passing beneath hanging cloth awnings in the morning light. This is the Rome of daily rhythm. And so, as you settle more deeply into rest, imagine that it is still dark. The stars have only just begun to fade above the tiled roofs. The city lies in a hush before sunrise, a brief and tender stillness before the first sounds of labor, commerce, and conversation begin. The air is cool. Ancient Rome, for all its crowds and noise by day, has moments like this, soft, silvered moments before dawn, when the narrow streets are quiet and the courtyards still. Somewhere in the distance, a dog shifts in its sleep. Somewhere else, water trickles into a stone basin. A faint breeze passes over rooftops and touches hanging laundry left out overnight to dry. In one of the city's many neighborhoods, a household is beginning to stir. The house may be large or small. Rome contains both grandeur and modesty side by side. There are spacious houses owned by wealthy families with painted walls, private shrines, gardens, and pools of clear water open to the sky. And there are tall apartment buildings called insulae rising over busy streets, where families live in close quarters above shops and workshops, with all the sounds of their neighbors drifting through walls and stairwells. Tonight, we will move quietly among both worlds. Let us begin in an ordinary street. The paving stones underfoot are cool and uneven. They have been worn smooth by years of wheels, sandals, rainwater, and the steady pulse of life. The buildings lean close to one another, creating shade in the hot months and shelter in the wet. Wooden shutters are still closed. Clay lamps have burned low. Above, a scrap of fabric stirs. Below, the city waits. Then, almost imperceptibly, it begins. A latch lifts. A door opens. A broom brushes dust from a threshold. The first light of morning enters Rome not all at once, but in layers. The eastern sky softens. Rooftops grow visible. Edges of columns and walls appear in pale gray, then blue, then the faintest gold. The city wakes the way a person wakes from deep sleep, slowly, with half-formed motion and gradual awareness. A baker is already at work. Bread is one of the great anchors of Roman daily life, as necessary and familiar as light itself. In a bakery, the oven has been heated well before dawn. Grain ground into flour has become dough. The room is warm, fragrant, full of quiet effort. Strong arms knead. Loaves are shaped and scored. Perhaps a donkey has turned the millstone earlier in the darkness, circling patiently, its steps known by heart. The scent of baking bread spreads into the street. Imagine it now. Warm, earthy, comforting. A smell so ancient and so familiar that it crosses the centuries unchanged. For a moment, the whole city seems to breathe with it. Nearby, in a more comfortable house, the members of a wealthy family begin their own morning. The house is arranged around an atrium, a central hall open above, where the first daylight falls into a shallow pool below. Rainwater is gathered there. The walls may be painted in deep reds, yellows, or black, with delicate patterns, landscapes, myths, or architectural illusions that make the rooms seem larger than they are. The household rises according to rank and habit. Servants move first. A lamp is trimmed. Water is carried. Clothing is brought. Sandals are placed ready by a bed or a bench. Someone opens a shutter. Someone sweeps. Someone prepares the first simple meal of the day. Breakfast in Rome is usually light, perhaps bread, perhaps olives, perhaps cheese, perhaps fruit in season. A little watered wine may be taken, or something left over from the previous day. It is not a long meal. The main rhythm of Roman life moves forward quickly in the morning before the heat of the day grows stronger. Now imagine in another part of the city, a family living high in an apartment building. Their home is smaller. The walls are plain. The rooms are close and practical. Water is not always at hand, and carrying it upstairs is labor. Cooking may be done on a small brazier, carefully, or bought from vendors and cookshops below. Yet even here, morning arrives with its own dignity. A mother ties back her hair. A child is shaken gently awake. Someone tears bread into portions. Someone else peers from a window at the street below, watching the day begin. This, too, is Rome. Not one life, but thousands. Not one story, but a city made of overlapping mornings. As the sun rises higher, the streets fill. Now let your imagination drift along one of these streets, moving slowly and without effort. You do not need to remember names or dates. Just notice the texture of the world around you. There are carts, though in many places wheeled traffic is restricted during the busiest parts of the day. There are porters carrying goods on their backs or shoulders. There are shopkeepers lifting shutters. There are customers lingering before counters open to the street. Roman shops are often small, built into the ground floors of larger buildings. Their interiors are shadowed and cool, with jars, baskets, tools, folded cloth, scales, lamps, and goods of every kind. A person can buy bread, wine, oil, fish sauce, beans, cookware, shoes, writing materials, and simple meals ready to eat. The city is full of exchange, and so much of life takes place not behind walls, but in this open threshold between street and shop. Now the market comes gently into view. It is livelier here, but we will experience it not as a rush, only as a tapestry of soft movement and everyday purpose. There are baskets of figs, apples, onions, and lentils. There are herbs and greens still carrying traces of earth. There are fish packed in salt, baskets of nuts, wheels of cheese, jars of honey, and folded cloth in muted dyes. The sounds rise and fall like waves: conversation, bargaining, laughter, the tap of sandals, the thud of something set down on wood. Ancient Rome is often imagined in stone and marble, but daily life is full of softer materials too: linen, wool, leather, wicker, rope, reeds, wax, and wood. There are baskets hanging from hooks, cloth draped from beams, wax tablets tucked into satchels, brooms leaning by doors, and reed mats rolled against walls. Even the light feels textured. Morning sunlight falls between buildings in long, angled bands. It catches dust in the air. It glows on pale stone. It warms clay jars and painted plaster. It flashes briefly on metal scales and bronze fittings, then moves on. Perhaps we pause beside a fountain. Rome is famous for water. Aqueducts bring it from distant sources, and in the city it flows to baths, fountains, and homes of the wealthy. Public fountains are essential places in daily life. People come with jugs and pitchers. They wait for their turn. They talk. They hear neighborhood.
Children hover nearby. Water spills and sparkles. It makes the air cooler.
The continuous sound of water in a stone basin. A pitcher being filled. A splash over the rim. Then quiet voices again. There is something deeply soothing in remembering that even in a city of perhaps 1 million people, daily life still depends on gestures this simple. Drawing water, slicing bread, opening a door, walking to market, greeting a neighbor. By now, the business of the morning is well underway. A teacher sits with students, perhaps in a rented space, perhaps under a portico, perhaps in a room open enough for street noise to drift in. Roman education varies greatly by wealth and status, but many children, especially boys from better-off families, learn reading, writing, rhetoric, and arithmetic. Some girls are educated too, especially in prosperous households. A lesson begins. Wax tablets are marked with a stylus. Passages are repeated aloud. Memory is trained carefully. Discipline may be strict, but let us pass this scene gently, hearing only the low recitation of practiced lines. Not far away, a scribe bends over his work. Writing in Rome is a practical art as much as a literary one. Contracts, accounts, letters, notices, records, labels, invitations, legal matters. So much depends on the steady hand of someone who can shape words clearly. Ink, papyrus, wax tablets, stylus, reed pen. These are ordinary tools in a world where administration and commerce reach into every corner of life. Now, in a shaded courtyard, a group of women sit together for part of the morning's work. One spins wool, another mends cloth, another sorts household stores. A child leans sleepily against a bench, a servant passing, carrying laundry. Textiles are never far from daily life in Rome. Cloth must be woven, repaired, washed, dyed, folded, stored. Tunics wear thin, cloaks gather dust, sandals need straps replaced. Domestic life is an ongoing act of care, maintenance, and repetition. This repetition is not dull in the quiet sense we are visiting tonight. It is rhythmic. It gives shape to the day. Now let the sun rise a little higher. The city warms. Stone walls begin to give back yesterday's heat. The brightness in the streets sharpens. Shadows shrink. In wealthier homes, interior rooms remain cool for a while longer, protected by thick walls and shaded porticos. In crowded upper apartments, heat gathers faster. Windows may be opened to coax a breath of moving air from the street. In the Forum, the public heart of Rome, the pace is more formal and crowded. Officials, petitioners, messengers, clients, and lawyers may all move through its open spaces. Temples overlook the activity. Statues stand still while everything around them changes. Speeches may be heard, cases may be discussed, politics may be performed. But even here, daily life is not only grandeur. It is waiting, walking, standing in line, exchanging greetings, making requests, carrying papers, and returning home again. For many men of status, the morning includes the ritual of the salutatio, the formal greeting of clients to a patron. It is a custom tied to social structure, obligation, and favor. People gather at a wealthy man's house, offering respect, loyalty, presents. In return, they may receive assistance, influence, or some practical support. Rome runs not only on law and roads, but on relationships, patronage, family ties, neighborhood familiarity, habit, and reputation. Yet for most people, the morning is simpler. They are making things, selling things, carrying things, cleaning, cooking, measuring, cutting, teaching, stitching, hauling, tending, repairing. A metalworker hammers softly in a workshop. A cobbler bends over a sandal. A vendor arranges olives in shallow trays. A cook stirs a pot. A child is sent on an errand with strict instructions not to dawdle. Somewhere, bread is being sliced. Somewhere, beans are simmering. Somewhere, wine is being watered in a clay jug.
And always there is the feeling of closeness in the Roman city. People live near one another. They hear one another. Privacy exists, but not in the way many modern people think of it. Sounds travel, smells travel, news travels. A quarrel in one room may be known next door. A birth, a funeral, a sale, a return from travel, a good catch of fish, a batch of excellent bread, a change in household fortune. These things ripple outward quickly. By midday, the heat may press more heavily on the streets, especially in warmer months. Work slows in some places. People seek shade. Awnings help. Arcades help. Courtyards help. Fountains help. Meals remain simple for many people during the day. Bread again, cheese, fruit, nuts, a little fish, leftovers, perhaps hot food from a street stall. The great elaborate dinner is not the daily norm for everyone, though the wealthy may dine at length later in the day. For ordinary Romans, food is often practical, filling, repeated, seasonal, and deeply tied to grain, oil, wine, and whatever else can be afforded. Imagine now a cook shop at noon. The doorway is open. Inside, large pots are set into masonry counter. Steam rises gently. The scents are savory and rich. Lentils, onions, herbs, perhaps pork, perhaps chickpeas, perhaps a stew thickened from long simmering. Customers step in from the brightness outside. Coins change hands. Bowls are filled. There is no need to cook everything at home when the city itself can feed you one ladle at a time. Now, as the day stretches onward, let us wander more slowly, away from the busiest streets and toward one of Rome's bathhouses. Bathing is among the great shared experiences of Roman daily life, not always luxurious, not always solemn, but central. Bathhouses are places not only for washing, but for exercise, leisure, conversation, routine, and relief from the heat and dust of the day. The approach itself is pleasant, stone underfoot, warm now, voices echoing in halls, light entering through high openings, the smell of water, oil, steam, and warmed plaster. A visitor enters, pays a small fee perhaps, and moves through a sequence of spaces, changing rooms, warm rooms, hot rooms, cold pools. The exact pattern varies, and the great imperial baths are vast enough to include gardens, libraries, exercise yards, and places to stroll. But even in simpler baths, there is a gentle order to the experience. Oil is applied to the skin, dust and sweat are scraped away with a curved tool called a strigil. Warmth loosens muscles, water refreshes. Imagine the calm of it now. The cool touch of stone columns, the soft echo of voices in high chambers, the mist in the warm room, the sudden brightness of a pool catching light. In a city so crowded and lively, The baths offer a different kind of rhythm, one that slows the body, if not always the conversation. People meet friends there, they discuss business, they hear news, they relax. For some, it is one of the most pleasant parts of the day. Outside the baths, the afternoon light begins its gradual turn. Rome in late afternoon is softer than Rome at noon. The shadows lengthen once more. The sharpest heat eases. A breeze may return through certain streets. Work continues, but with a changed feeling, as if the city has exhaled. At home, preparations begin for the evening meal. In modest households, supper may be simple and early. In wealthier homes, dinner can become an extended social event, especially among the elite, with several courses, reclining guests, and much attention to serving, display, and conversation. But tonight, let us keep our focus on the quiet and ordinary. A lamp is made ready, though not yet lit. Vegetables are cut. Bread is set out. A sauce is mixed. Someone returns from a purchase. Someone else shakes dust from a cloak at the door. Children who have spent the day moving between lesson, errand, play, and household oversight begin to grow sleepy. Their energy softens. Their voices lower. A toy is left in a corner. A crust of bread is nibbled absent-mindedly. A mother or older sibling smooths tangled hair away from a forehead. Now step gently into a Roman home at dusk. The sky above the atrium is deepening from gold to rose, from rose to violet. Swallows turn in the air overhead. The small pool beneath the opening reflects the fading light. Painted walls seem richer in the dimness. Somewhere in the house, footsteps cross mosaic floors. Somewhere else, dishes are being arranged. At the household shrine, perhaps a small prayer is said to the family gods, the lares, guardians of home and continuity. This quiet devotion is part of daily life, too. Roman religion is not only in temples and festivals, it is in doorways, kitchens, crossroads, household shrines, routine offerings, remembered customs, protective gestures, and seasonal observances. The sacred lives very close to the ordinary. A flame, a little incense, a murmured word, a garland, a remembered ancestor, these are enough to fold reverence into the evening. Darkness comes slowly. Lamps are lit one by one. And what gentle lamps they are. Small clay or bronze vessels with oil and wick, glowing more than shining, creating pockets of amber light rather than filling rooms completely. The Roman night is not bright. It flickers. It breathes in shadows. Corners of rooms recede softly. Faces are lit from below. The city outside becomes a different place. Supper is eaten. The conversation is unhurried now. The great demands of the day begin to loosen their hold. A working person stretches tired shoulders. Someone tells a small story from the market. Someone complains about a price or a delay or the weather, but even this comes gently in the evening. There may be laughter. There may be silence. There may simply be the comfortable sounds of eating, pouring, passing, and clearing away. Outside, the street is quieter than before, though not silent. Footsteps pass below the window. A voice calls to another. A door closes. A dog barks once, then settles. Night in Rome can be lively, but from within a home, behind shutters and walls, it becomes intimate. The heat of the day leaves the stone little by little. Air moves more freely. The smell of cooking fades. Lamps burn steadily. Tiredness gathers. Now imagine the city from above. Roof after roof beneath the darkening sky. Here and there points of lamplight. The outline of temples and public buildings dim against the stars. Somewhere farther off, the vast shape of an amphitheater or bath complex, resting at last in shadow. And between them all, the narrow veins of streets where so many lives have passed through one ordinary day. What is most peaceful, perhaps, in this distant city is not what is grand, but what is familiar. A family beginning the morning with bread, a worker washing dust from the skin, a child practicing letters, water gathered at a fountain, a pot simmering in the late afternoon, a lamp lit at dusk, a quiet prayer at the household shrine, sandals left by the bed. The people of ancient Rome lived in a world very different from yours and very near to yours. They worried about money, they worried about health, they worried about children, parents, weather, work, food, neighbors, reputation, comfort, and tomorrow.
And they also knew the small kindnesses of daily rhythm, the relief of shade after sun, the comfort of warm bread, the coolness of water on tired hands, the familiar creak of a door, the safety of returning home, the simple beauty of evening settling over stone and tile. So now, as this Roman night deepens, let your imagination rest there a little longer. A lamp burns low, the house grows quieter, the last tasks are finished, a bowl is rinsed, a shutter is checked, a child is carried, half asleep, to bed. In the street below, the sounds grow fewer. The city that seemed so busy, so crowded, so full of movement, gradually surrenders to darkness. Not fully, never fully. Rome is too alive for complete silence, but enough for rest. And above it all, the same moon that has watched your own evenings rises over ancient rooftops. It lays a pale sheen across tiles and courtyards. It touches the edges of columns. It silvers the water and fountains. It turns the streets into soft ribbons of stone. Somewhere, a night watchman walks his route. Somewhere, someone whispers a final conversation. Somewhere, someone is still writing by lamplight. But in most homes, sleep has come. The baker will rise again before dawn. The market will open again. The fountains will fill, the shops will awaken, the baths will steam, the classrooms will echo, the stew pots will simmer, and the lamps will be lit again tomorrow night. And that is the quiet heart of daily life in ancient Rome. Not only empire, not only history, but repetition, routine, human rhythm, day after day, season after season, morning bread, midday heat, evening lamps, a life held together by ordinary acts. And as you rest now, perhaps that is the gentlest thought to carry with you, that across centuries, across languages, across worlds of marble and dust and distant time, people have always ended their days in much the same way. Tired, hopeful, a little uncertain of tomorrow, grateful for food, shelter, and the soft arrival of night. So let ancient Rome fade now into darkness. Let the courtyards go still. Let the fountains murmur farther away. Let the lamp flames dim. Let the footsteps disappear. And let sleep come as gently as moonlight on old stone. The Roman night has slowly passed. The moon that drifted above tiled rooftops has slipped away toward the western hills, and the first faint light of another day begins to touch the edges of the city. Rome wakes again, not suddenly, not with noise or urgency, but with the same slow rhythm that has repeated here for centuries. Imagine the moment just before sunrise.
The air is still cool from the night. The stones of the streets hold the memory of darkness. A pale blue light spreads across the sky above the crowded roofs, and the silhouettes of chimneys, beams, and terracotta tiles gradually take shape. Somewhere, the first rooster calls. In another street, someone unlatches a wooden door. The day has begun. You walk slowly through a quiet neighborhood near the center of the city. The houses stand close together, their walls painted in warm shades that the early light softens into muted colors. Above the doors hang small carvings or symbols, marks of family identity, protection, or trade. A woman steps outside with a broom. She sweeps the dust from the threshold, pushing yesterday's grit and stray straw into the street, where it will be carried away by footsteps and wheels. The soft brushing sound echoes briefly in the quiet. Nearby, a man stretches his arms after sleep, standing in the doorway of his workshop. The smell of wood and oil drifts out from inside. He is a carpenter. His tools are simple but well cared for. Chisels, mallets, saws, planes. Today he may repair a chair, shape a beam, or build a small chest. These quiet crafts keep the city alive in ways that monuments never reveal. Further down the street, a boy carries a clay jug. It is nearly as tall as his torso. Carefully, step by step, he walks toward the neighborhood fountain. The jug bumps gently against his leg with each movement. Fetching water is one of the first tasks of the day. When he reaches the fountain, others are already there. A woman in a wool cloak waits with 2 pitchers balanced at her feet. An older man leans on a stick while his container fills slowly beneath the flowing spout. The water splashes steadily into the basin. Its sound is peaceful, almost musical. Fountains like this are scattered throughout Rome. They are places of necessity, but also places of small conversation. People exchange greetings while waiting for their containers to fill. News travels quickly here. Someone mentions that a merchant ship arrived yesterday at Ostia, the harbor city that feeds Rome with grain and goods from across the Mediterranean. Someone else complains about the rising price of olives. Another simply nods, enjoying the cool morning air. The boy finally fills his jug. He lifts it carefully, steadying the weight against his hip, and begins the slow walk home. Now the city grows brighter. Sunlight spills into the streets, first touching the highest rooftops, then slowly sliding downward along the walls. Colors begin to glow more clearly, reds, yellows, and pale creams painted on plaster. Shutters open. Shopkeepers lift wooden panels that serve as counters during the day. Inside, small rooms fill with the smell of goods stored overnight. One shop sells pottery. Rows of clay bowls, cups, and jars line the shelves. Their surfaces shine softly in the light. Some are simple and rough, meant for everyday kitchens. Others are decorated with painted designs, swirls, leaves, or small scenes of animals. The shopkeeper dusts them carefully with a cloth. He arranges the most attractive pieces near the front, hoping they will catch the eye of passers-by. Next door is a textile stall. Bolts of cloth hang from beams overhead. Undyed wool, pale linen, and occasionally more colorful fabrics dyed with expensive pigments. Purple is rare and precious, reserved mostly for the wealthy. The cloth moves gently in the morning breeze. Further along the street stands a bakery. Even before you see it, you can smell it. Warm bread. The ovens inside glow faintly with heat. Bakers have been working for hours already, shaping dough into round loaves. Each loaf bears a mark pressed into the surface, a stamp that identifies the bakery.
A worker pulls a tray from the oven. Steam rises from the fresh bread, carrying the rich scent of grain into the street. Soon, customers will arrive to buy their daily supply. Bread is not simply food in Rome. It is the foundation of the diet for most people. Grain travels enormous distances to reach the city. Ships carry it across the Mediterranean from Egypt and North Africa. Once in Rome, it becomes flour, then dough, then the loaves that feed hundreds of thousands of people each day. But for the baker, it is simply work. He wipes flour from his hands and prepares the next batch. Now let us wander toward a slightly wider street where the morning traffic has begun. Porters move carefully through the crowd carrying baskets on their backs. One basket holds vegetables, onions, garlic, and bunches of leafy greens tied together with string. Another carries amphora, tall clay jars filled with wine or olive oil. The jars clink softly against each other as the porter walks. Carts roll slowly over the uneven stones. Their wooden wheels produce a steady rumbling sound that echoes between the buildings. Donkeys pull the carts patiently, their hooves tapping against the road. Despite the growing activity, there is still something peaceful in the rhythm of the morning. No one rushes in the modern sense. Work begins early, but it unfolds in a steady, familiar pattern. At a small corner stand, a vendor prepares breakfast food. He ladles warm porridge into bowls. A laborer pauses to eat before heading to a construction site outside the city walls. He sits on a low bench, blowing gently on the hot food before taking a spoonful. Nearby, two children share a piece of bread dipped in honey. They laugh quietly about something only they understand. A dog waits hopefully at their feet. Now, imagine walking farther toward the center of Rome. The buildings become larger. Columns appear. You approach the great public spaces where the life of the city gathers. But we move slowly, never rushing. The Forum lies ahead, a vast open area surrounded by temples, government buildings, and meeting halls. Even in the early hours, it holds an air of importance. Stone steps lead upward toward tall columns. Statues stand on pedestals, their marble faces calm and expressionless. Men in white togas walk across the square, discussing business or politics. Messengers hurry past carrying scrolls. Yet even here, daily life mixes with formality. A fruit seller has set up a small stall near the edge of the square. He arranges figs into neat pyramids. Their dark skins glisten in the sunlight. A stray pigeon hops nearby, hoping for scraps. A young student sits on a step reading from a wax tablet. He murmurs the words softly to himself, trying to remember a passage assigned by his teacher.
In another corner of the Forum, a group of laborers unload stone blocks from a cart. Construction and repair are constant in a city this large. Dust drifts through the air as the blocks are lifted into place. Yet our walk does not linger long in the busiest parts of Rome. Instead, we drift toward quieter neighborhoods again. Here, the streets twist and narrow. Small gardens appear behind low walls. Vines climb wooden frames, their leaves catching the sunlight. Potted plants sit near doorways. You hear the soft splash of another fountain. This one stands in a shaded courtyard surrounded by homes. The courtyard is peaceful. A few benches rest beneath a fig tree whose branches spread wide overhead. Birds hop among the leaves. A woman sits spinning wool with a drop spindle. The spindle turns slowly between her fingers, twisting the fibers into thread. It is careful work, but the motion is calm and repetitive. Nearby, an elderly man repairs a fishing net. His hands move patiently through the knots. These small, quiet tasks fill many hours of Roman life. They are not grand or famous, yet they shape the everyday world just as much as any emperor's decree. Now, the sun climbs higher, the city grows warmer. People move into the shade of awnings stretched across the streets. These cloth coverings create cool pockets of shadow where shoppers can pause comfortably. The smells of cooking begin to drift through the air again. Garlic sizzling in oil, bread warming on a small grill, herbs crushed between fingers. A cook shop opens its doors. Inside, large clay pots sit embedded in a counter. Each pot contains a different dish: lentils, stewed vegetables, spiced meat. Customers approach with small bowls. The cook dips a ladle into one pot and fills the bowl with steaming food. Coins change hands. The customer steps aside to eat at a standing table near the doorway. This simple exchange repeats countless times each day across the city. Rome feeds itself through thousands of such moments. As the morning continues, the city settles into its full rhythm. Teachers begin their lessons. Artisans shape metal, wood, and stone. Merchants negotiate prices. Servants carry messages from house to house. Everywhere there is movement, yet it follows patterns learned over generations. Nothing feels hurried. Nothing feels unfamiliar to those who live here. And as you continue walking slowly through these streets in your imagination, you may notice how ordinary the ancient world begins to feel. Different clothes, different buildings, different customs, yet beneath it all, the same simple human life. Work, food, conversation, rest. The same rising sun warming the same earth. The same quiet satisfaction at the end of a useful morning. And as the sunlight grows brighter above the rooftops of Rome, the city continues its gentle unfolding into another day.